brutal to watch.
Speedster.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, fuck!
What's up, everyone? Welcome to week 16. I already forgot what week it is. I just know it's the championship week. There's two of them, so it has to be 16. That's it. That's absolutely right. Is what that is. Welcome to week 16, championship weekend. Finally, everybody's playing again, at least. And a bunch of games that really don't matter, and then two games that matter a whole lot, and then another game that is, there's some money involved. That would be the third place game for people who aren't keeping up. Looking at the waiver wire pickups this week. Obviously it's very light. A couple people in games that, like I said, don't really particularly matter all that much, outside of pride and just the love of the game. Which is basically John still playing to the bitter end, which we all appreciate and we love to see. So the only two actual waiver wire moves were reserved for myself and Raleigh, which, for being fair, I do like to see that. I think that is very nice of everyone to allow us to do that. What was not nice is y'all let Raleigh get the Bills defense playing the Chargers this week. Was who he picked up. And I picked up Trevor Lawrence for some quarterback depth after streaming Matthew Stafford last week. Other pickups, John picked up Gardner Minshew and the Bears defense. I went back in and added Ramondre Stevenson for some, basically because I had a third defense still on my team. And I needed, figure why not have some running back depth next week just in case all shit breaks loose. And then Wade finally re-added Jordan Addison, who I was not even aware was a free agent at that point. Probably would have added him at some point, maybe. Probably not. I wouldn't have done that. I'm lying to you right now. Very quickly, I'll look at the in here. We can go ahead and look at them too. Shit, maybe. Fuck. Damn, this is embarrassing, everyone. Hold on. There it is. Jesus, that looks like shit. Oh, it's just because the website looks like shit. Never mind. Very quickly, we can look at, and y'all can look along to the games that aren't really affecting anything. Trevor v. John. I'm gonna go in a 2-week bout here. Trevor's probably gonna take it. Who knows? Kyron Williams playing good ball. Jahmyr Gibbs is playing good ball. You just got no receivers, dude. It's crazy. Garrett Wilson, Rashee Rice hurts. Maybe Noah Brown will do something. Maybe you get CJ Stroud back, and maybe the 49ers defense will ball their asses off. Yeah, in 2 weeks, Trevor's gonna be a little too much to overcome there, I think. Over for the 5th place match, the two that were eliminated during the first bye week. Yeah, Tim's gonna destroy Cameron. I mean, it's gonna be bad. Tim might put up the highest 2-week total, probably will. Too bad it won't matter or amount to anything. And then finally the 3rd place matchup, which I actually haven't looked at, and I probably should. It is worth, was it $50? Get your money back. Also, I'm stuffy as shit because it got really cold up here. Yeah, 2 weeks. This is actually going to be a really, really close game. I'd actually have to look at the full 2-week projections. You got the Eagles playing the Giants, which is nice. Actually, do you even have, oh, there's Devontae Smith. Although Kelsey against the Raiders, I'm gonna go away just because why not. All right, now games that matter. Now the games that matter. We're gonna start with our last place matchup. We're gonna start with our duck. We're gonna start with that beautiful creature right there, and who will be taking it home starting next year. Yeah, so for Ashley, we've got a couple of unproven quarterbacks here, for both of them, not just for Ashley. I realized I set that up as I was about to talk about Ashley's team, and then made a blanket statement about both of theirs. But we have solid matchups for two quarterbacks who are having great fantasy seasons. Dak Prescott coming off of his worst week by far, and that shellacking against the Bills. putting up only 6 points, 134 yards, and what do you have? 1 pick. Yeah, not ideal for sure. The Jets coming off of just a colossal beatdown of, I'm sorry, the Dolphins coming off of a colossal beatdown against the Jets. I do actually like the Cowboys to go and win that game. I think this is going to be kind of a crossroads for both of them. And obviously we're going to figure out who the biggest fraud is. But I do like Dak Prescott to bounce back. And not just because I desperately need him to win a championship. We have Justin Fields against the Cardinals. Justin Fields last week against the much better defense in the Browns. Had only 9.64 points, had a couple picks. Didn't really have any explosiveness in the run game. But he's been playing better recently. Yeah, actually pretty much looking at this, when he plays bad defenses, which the last two have been Detroit, he's usually over 20 points, and when he plays good defenses, he's not. Lucky for Charlie, this is a bad defense. Speaking of bad defense, we have Kenneth Walker against the Titans and Rachaad White against the Jags. Love both of those matchups. Rachaad White is just getting carry after carry after carry, getting all the opportunities in the world. He's gone over 20 points in his last 2 games, 18 in his last 3. And hasn't had what I would say, a unstartable performance since week 6. Ton of touchdowns, tons of production, tons of touches, and going up against a little bit of a weaker defense this week in the Jacksonville Jaguars. Ooh. Ooh. Sorry, I was going hard in the paint there. Unluckily for Ashley, both of her elite running backs get some tough matchups. The Eagles, who looked better against the Seahawks than they have. Obviously, they've had a little bit of a strange, rough year defensively, but that was never really part of their run game. They have been able to stop the run. And the same thing with the Falcons, who Jonathan Taylor is playing. Both of these teams very weak on the back end and very, very good up front. So bad news for Ashley. We have Jalen Waddle against the Cowboys, who might be good. I don't know. No one really knows. So that one's going to be hard to really tell you what's going on there. And then we have Jaden Reed going up against the Panthers. When you see the Panthers on paper, I think your brain immediately is like, yeah, obviously you start anybody against the Panthers. Receivers and quarterbacks, not necessarily. The Panthers get run on pretty hard, and you're usually getting the shit kicked out of them, so there's not a lot of passing opportunities. So, and they actually have an okay secondary. So all that combines for massive running days. So we'll see a little bit closer to game time if maybe Adam Thielen sneaks back in there. The team that can be thrown all over is the Packers. So we'll see if Adam Thielen makes it back in there. And then on Charlie's side, we got DeAndre Hopkins against the Seahawks. An incredible matchup. I think Will Levis is hurt or got hurt at the end of the last game. I don't exactly know what his status is. With Will Levis in, I love this matchup. Without it, I guess they go back to Tannehill. And then who knows? What was DeAndre Hopkins doing with Ryan Tannehill? I don't think anything. Yeah, because he didn't do shit until he had that 3 touchdown game against me. Yeah, that one's okay. That was when Will Levis came in. And then we have Deebo Samuel against the Ravens. Deebo Samuel's a fucking man. Just a monster run he's having. 2 touchdowns at least in each of his last 3 games. Back-to-back 30-point performances, and he followed it up with a disappointing 19.9. Yeah, Deebo Samuel's having an insane run here. And the 49ers are obviously not going to shouldn't score 45 points against the against the Ravens. I mean, maybe they're that fucking good. Like, I don't think they're going to do it, but like if you told me Tuesday morning that the 49ers won 45-28, I'd be shocked. I'd be blown away. But yeah, they're pretty fucking good. They probably did it. So anyway, saying all that to say that Debo is yeah, Debo's the man. He's fucking awesome. George Kittle is also the man, not necessarily fantasy wise because he's a tight end and who knows. So that's an average tight end matchup, I guess. Trey McBride, however, not an average tight end matchup. 102 yards last week in the loss to San Francisco, which is pretty impressive. This week he gets Chicago, who is 30th against opposing tight ends. And Trey McBride, even though he's only really been a full-time starter since week 8, is your 8th ranked tight end of the year. So good for that. DeAndre Swift against the Giants should eat, and Michael Pittman against the Falcons. I talked about trying to face the Falcons secondary. They're bad. They're kind of bad. I lied. They're actually pretty good. The Falcons just have a good defense as a whole. I forget the Falcons have a good anything because they don't like play their offensive studs. But if you're Charlie, I don't necessarily see who you'd play over them. You can't trust George Pickens. You're not playing any Chargers, and yeah, Andy Isabella. I mean, maybe this is if he's gonna play a week, it's gonna be the Chargers week. So you know what? If you want to see if you can sneak in a point for Andy Isabella, I don't know if he's on the active roster at this point. He's not. He's on the practice squad. Thanks. Yeah, I'm not gonna look up ahead at the 2-week projections here. But just looking at this first week, I think Charlie's in pretty good shape. The Saquon and Jonathan Taylor duo scares me, and like I said, I'm not gonna spoil myself and look ahead to next week on these matchups. I'll do it with my own, not these. I like to be surprised. I mean, Dak, Saquon. I know Dak plays the shit. No, I don't know who he plays. The Lions. He plays the Lions. So I mean, I don't necessarily like Charlie to win the whole thing. I do like him to come out of this week on top. I think it's going to be close. I think it's still going to be very, very close. But I do think Charlie squeaks out this week and sets him up with a little bit of a head start going into next week. And fuck it, we'll see how that goes next week. Shit. I don't even know if I'm going to get to record one of these next week. Actually, yeah, I will. Yeah, I will. I have a whole day after the games end before I go home. So I will. That was a lie. And everybody calm down. Everybody freaked out that they weren't going to get their final week of videos. It's going to happen. And that's why I can less guiltily make this one a little bit shorter. And maybe this week that I'm off with no girlfriend at home, I'll make a different video of something else. I probably won't. But now that I got you all excited for it. Anyway, the championship matchup. Raleigh took down Wade in a thrilling, actually exhilarating Monday night game that came down to the wire. Tons of drama. Honestly, drama across the league, but drama specifically here. And then I played a game. We don't have to talk about how mine went. But I won. So obviously, I'm here. So having said all that, I don't know what I'm going to do with the quarterback position. I'm going to be really honest. Right now, Kyler Murray's in there. And I think that's been the plan all along. Well, the plan ever since, actually, it was kind of the plan before Justin Herbert got hurt because he's got a decently tough playoff matchup. But definitely since Herbert got hurt, it was figure it the fuck out week 15. Because Kyler played the 49ers and then ride Kyler to the championship. But all of a sudden, Trevor Lawrence is sitting there on the waiver wires and he plays the Bucks. Now he is hurt. Don't know if he's going to play. Matthew Stafford plays the Saints and he's been playing well. And I'm kind of leaning towards just riding it out with him. But for right now, Kyler Murray's in the starting slot. I will consult my resident lineup analyst, John, and ask his opinion if he doesn't give it to me. Actually, I'm putting it out here right now for you to tell me what to do because I don't know. I I think I'm just gonna ride Kyler. Yeah, but Trevor Lawrence. It's the Bucks. We're not good. Kyler. The answer's Kyler. Answer's Kyler. Answer's Kyler. It's the redemption arc. It's the Kyler Murray redemption arc from his golf wing stint last year. Anyway, Lamar Jackson plays the 49ers. Lamar Jackson is maybe the most efficient, like awesome quarterback that doesn't wow you in fantasy. That's not even true because Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady used to do the same thing. But like every time you watch Lamar Jackson, it's just, and I know we've talked about this and it's beating a dead horse, but like it is crazy to actually watch him play and you're like, holy shit, that might be the greatest game of, like, that might be one of the greatest quarterback games I've ever seen. And he's got 18 points, he's got 171 yards, and he's got 100 more on the ground. Impressive stuff. But like the way he plays, I would think it's this 31.6 points he had against the Rams. I know that was the Chargers. That's as many points as I think he has every week, and he doesn't. And this week he has a tough matchup against the 49ers. Christian McCaffrey also has a tough matchup against the Ravens. Let's look at top defenses this year that McCaffrey has played. We have Cleveland, which was by far his worst production. He had 43 yards on the ground, only 9 yards receiving and a touchdown. The week before against the Cowboys, you remember that game was 42-10. I think that was a massive Debo and Kittle game, if I'm not mistaken, too. Only 51 yards on the ground, 27 through the air. Had a touchdown, lost a fumble. What other good defenses that he's played? I mean, Philly is a okay rush defense, but they yeah, I don't necessarily count that. Those are the only two good defenses he's played, so that worries me a little bit. Baltimore number 5 against the run. The one thing that does kind of perk me up a little bit, obviously the Dallas one, that game got out of hand early. The Cleveland one is what really makes me nervous. But that is, if you remember correctly, the game that Trent Williams was hurt, and Debo was hurt, and they started that 3-game losing skid, which they are currently not on. They are currently playing the best ball in the NFL. So that makes me not nervous. Ezekiel Elliott against the Broncos does make me nervous, and it's wild that I'm scared to play Ezekiel Elliott in the year of 2023 of our Lord. But he's got the Broncos this week, the second worst rush defense in the league. He's shown what he can do against a bad defense with good volume. Just dismantling the Steelers 2 weeks ago, putting up 23.5 points. The most shocking part of that was he had 72 rushing yards through the air. The Patriots don't have a functional quarterback, which is probably why they're throwing to the running back. But why is his fat ass catching like 6 passes and like good passes and taking them for yards and a touchdown? Doesn't make sense. But yeah, it's a scary matchup. What's not a scary matchup is Austin Eckler's fat ass against the Buffalo Bills last week against the Raiders, who are, I was going to say, a much worse defense. I don't even necessarily know that they are. They're probably about on par, maybe even a little bit better. Definitely have more playmakers of Max Crosby and you know, that's it. But I digress. Yeah, the Chargers are a fucking joke. I don't trust Eckler. I don't know how you can trust Eckler. I definitely don't know how you can bench David Montgomery for him. Whatever, dude. Your team. Dan Dalton Kincaid against the Chargers. Okay. Whatever, dude. Your team. Your team. Aaron Jones against the Panthers. You know, Aaron Jones is elite when Aaron Jones decides to be elite. He was limited at practice. I don't know what AJ Dillon's situation is. Obviously Aaron Jones has been practicing in a limited capacity for a while. But it's a good matchup against the Panthers. I don't 100% know that he's going to end up in the lineup. If he tweaks something in practice. Jerome Ford is sitting there just to fill in as an emergency spot. but I love Aaron Jones' upside this week against the Panthers. What was I looking up? I don't have it on my screen still. I was looking up AJ Dillon's status. Also a limited participant. Got a broken thumb, dude. Sit down. Wide receivers, and this is where I get nervous. Obviously, they've been. I say that, but Raheem Mostert and David Montgomery have been actually carrying Raleigh's team a lot. On name value, they are. They look like the big portion of Raleigh's points. Stephon Diggs and AJ Brown. Don't know if you've heard this. Both very good. Also, don't know if you know this. They've been struggling a lot. Stephon Diggs in his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. 4 of those games, he's gone under 5 points. Only one game against the 32nd ranked secondary of the Eagles was he good. He had 74 yards and a touchdown, which, if you'd asked me 4 weeks ago, hey, you're playing Raleigh in the championship, would you just allow Stephon Diggs to have 16.4 points? But that's it. Like, yes. Full stop. Absolutely. Give it to him. Move on. Bad news for Chandler. He's playing the Chargers. He's playing the ultimate get right team. The only silver lining here that I can see is that the Chargers are so bad that we're going to be out of hand by the third quarter. Like, it's going to be a blowout. And if it's not going to be because if the game's close, it's not going to be because the Chargers were keeping up with the Bills in the score on the scoreboard. That sounded bad. It's really late, actually. It's not going to be because they're putting up points, is what I meant to say. It's good if it's a close game. It's going to be because it's a gross fucking slobber knocker, which also means Stephon Diggs is not putting up points, so I'm fine with that. AJ Brown has also been bad. Not quite as bad as Stephon Diggs. He had the 1 point Monday night debacle against Kansas City and mine and Raleigh's last meeting, which I think was the only reason I won. Thanks. That was what gave me the 1 seed, huh? Against Buffalo 12.2, against San Francisco 15.4, against Dallas 11.9, and last week, 2 days ago against Seattle 8.1. Once again, the highest score in that stretch being 15.4. If you would said, hey, you're gonna play Raleigh in the championship, AJ Brown scores 15.4. How do you feel? Feel pretty good. I think that's right where I want him to be. Bad news for Chandler again. He plays the Giants. Another great get right spot for the Eagles. People have been trash talking the offense for a good little while now. This feels like the spot where they figure it the fuck out. And more specifically, this feels like the spot where AJ Brown figures it the fuck out, because Devontae Smith has still had a pretty okay stretch. Yeah, I think AJ Brown might have a big game. I mean, we're kind of in the same boat as the Chargers, where this game should be so out of hand by the third quarter that they're not even thinking about throwing the ball anymore. Hell, maybe even we bench the starters. I'm just scared of how much damage that can be done before that. Now my wide receivers are just good. Cooper Kupp has gone over 21 points 2 weeks in a row. He scored a touchdown 3 weeks in a row. And he gets the Saints this week, who are the number 3 defense against wide receivers. Now, I'd still trust Cooper Kupp. I think a lot of that, the Saints have obviously played the, I don't know if they've already played the Panthers twice, but either way, they get to play the Panthers twice. They also get to play the Falcons twice. So a lot of those, their schedule's been soft as fuck. That's what I'm getting at. So not that they don't have a good defense. I don't think it's that good. And I think Cooper Kupp is all the way back. So, you know. And then CeeDee Lamb against the Dolphins. I kind of alluded to it earlier when talking about Dak, obviously. I think that this is a big bounce back spot for the Cowboys. to kind of get up off the mat, being a fraud. CeeDee Lamb was dangerously close to putting up a fucking dud last week, and then he got a last minute. Basically, he got one drive where they just fed him the ball all the way down the field. I think he got like 4 receptions for like 20 yards on that one drive, and then capped it off with a rushing touchdown. So could have put up a dud. But it is kind of nice to know that even in the shittiest of situations, they're still gonna feed CD. CD now, CD forever, CD always. What was it? No, it was CD early, CD often, CD forever. TJ Hawkinson versus Taysom Hill. Dude, who fucking knows? Some fucking tight ends, man. You're gonna say you're gonna be breakdown tight ends. TJ Hawkinson struggled a little bit with not struggled. Nick Mullins. TJ Hawkinson back #1 tight end. Shout out my boy. And then Taysom Hill, he's gonna do some fuck shit. It's gonna piss me off. That's my Taysom Hill analysis. And in the slots, we have to round it out, Brandon Ayuk against the Ravens. I've talked about that matchup. Against the pass this year, the Ravens are number 13, so a little bit more susceptible through the air. I think as long as Trent Williams and Debo and Brock Purdy are all healthy, that we're fine there. Thought about starting Nico Collins, but it looks like CJ Stroud's not going to play again this week, and also he's got a tough matchup against the Browns. I will go ahead and spoiler alert, next week they play the Titans, and if CJ Stroud is healthy, Nico Collins will be getting the start there. Over who? Haven't decided yet. Don't know. Don't care. Fit him in the lineup. And then Raheem Mostert against the Cowboys. Raheem Mostert, I mean, you want to call them garbage touchdowns because it's what they are. But if it happens every single week, I don't know. You can't really call it garbage anymore. It's just he's gonna score. I mean, the Dolphins score a lot, so it would only make sense that their starting running back is getting goal line opportunities and goal line carries. Hopefully the Cowboys can figure their defense out. And I actually will talk about the defense because we're gonna have most likely the Bills against the Chargers versus my Eagles with the Giants, who Riley actually traded to me earlier this year. It would be ironic if the Eagles defense and Cooper Kupp were to take down Raleigh. Would be a lot of fun. Yeah. Oh my God. I forgot you have 3 fucking tight ends. You're still starting the wrong one. Whatever. Your team. Good luck, everyone. And most importantly, me. Oh, I didn't predict a winner. I would not be shocked if Raleigh were to come out of this week ahead. In fact, I kind of think it's going to happen. I just really hope to limit the damage this week. Because I have looked ahead at the matchups next week. And I love it. Love the board next week. So if I can keep this one within, I'll say 10 points this week, I feel really good about where I stand going into next week. Anyway, good luck.